All right, Virgo, welcome to your monthly horoscope for March of 2015. My name is Appin. So this is a powerful month. We've got the last of the Uranus Pluto square energy this month, so final integration with that. We've got the solar eclipse happening later on in the month on the 20th, and all of the fast-moving planets, of course, are going over the South Node, which is of course the eclipse season, but also, since the South Node is so close to Uranus, over the Uranus Pluto square energy, activating it even more on a personal level. Okay, so powerful month, transformative, a lot of activating in regards to the Uranus side of this, so breaking free of limitations, of wanting excitement, wanting freedom, wanting to be your true authentic self. Now, the arena this is happening in is in your 7th house, okay, of relationships. You've got the South Node there, you've got Uranus there, and that's where all the fast-moving planets are going to be transiting over, okay? So, in terms of this Uranus-Pluto square, the Uranus energy there is helping you guys find that freedom is an important element of relationships, okay? And that you want to have that freedom with yourself, okay, and then naturally with that freedom with yourself, you'll have that freedom with your relationships. Because see, relationships are a wonderful thing when we can be ourselves. If we can't, then it's not a true relationship. And so giving ourselves the freedom to be ourselves allows our relationships and the people in our life to be themselves. And that creates a much, much more integrated and exciting and romantic and everything else that's very, passionate and freedom-based. All those energies flow very nicely with our relationships. Okay, so that's what the Uranus element has been showing you. And it's been squaring up to this Pluto in your 4th. Now the 4th is your home, family, your roots, your foundations in life. So there's changes happening here with Pluto. And with this square, there's changes that they're calling upon you to make these changes, because with Pluto, you want to step into, well, with any planet, you want to step into the active role of that planet. And with Pluto, it has to do with taking the power to change your life in a particular area. And so the power to change in your 4th house, home, family, your roots, your emotional connections. This may be, changes literally to home, literally changes with family, transformations happening in this sector. And so balancing it is one way of looking at it with the Uranus energy of this freedom in your relationships. But it's this squaring energy. The 4th and the 7th house, it's always challenging to work with both the emotional side of life and just the enjoyment of relationships side of life, because the 7th house isn't like the 8th house where it's about the deep emotional connections which trines up to the 4th house. No, it's just enjoying the surface level, exchanging ideas, having fun, interacting, friends, exchanges, clients, just the one-on-one connections. But then there's the emotional level, and it's deep, it's powerful, and that's the transformation that's happening with Pluto. So the key here for all of us is to step into the power, and for you is to step into the power to make changes in regards to that 4th house of home, family, and emotions, and your roots, and your past, and these things. While at the same time, allowing yourself freedom in your relationships, allowing yourself to have change in relationships, which are oh so important, and to let go of a lot of old belief systems, old ideas, old concepts, and emotions and attachments regarding relationships, because your South Node, which rules these things, the attachments and the past, is transiting that 7th house, you see, next to Uranus. So allowing all this stuff to go, allowing the old energies of relationships to go. That is what's creating this freedom, that's what's cultivating all of this, and has been for the past few months, but especially this month, and then creating the new beginnings around that South Node, which is the solar eclipse energy. When the sun gets close to that South Node with the moon, creates that new beginning of the next 6 months of the transformation. Okay, and for you, again, it's regarding relationships. So it all starts at the beginning of the month when we have Venus going conjunct over that South Node on the 1st, right at the beginning of the month. This is wanting to release the old. Now there's one unique quality about this month is that the first 10 days, there's a lot of optimism. Okay, and there's a lot of support, and there's a lot of good energy, optimistic energy, wanting, desiring these changes and to release these old patterns. I mean, even if you look at a global sense, you know, the Uranus-Pluto square is what all of this change is happening on the political level, the financial level, and all these, you know, socio-economic levels of the world. But it's happening to us individually as well. So there's freedom that we're wanting to have, wanting to break free from, the restraints, the constrictions, the status quo energy of the old. So that's something regarding you in relationships. And on the first, it's wanting it, wanting to get, you know, just to move forward and to grow. And that's a beautiful thing. So tapping into that. And also on the first, we've got Mercury opposite Jupiter, okay, the planet of optimism, trining up to Uranus. Okay, so this is wanting not only to release the old, but why? Because we want freedom, because we want excitement, we want something new in our life. And for you, it's regarding relationships. And of course, this can mean existing relationships, as an example, because there's change that happens in relationships, right? As we change, so do our relationships change. And that's what this energy is you are changing and your relationships are changing accordingly. So there's optimism here. There's definitely optimism in regards to your fun. Actually, you've had Mercury recently go retrograde in your 5th house. A lot of you learned a lot of new things in regards to creativity, fun, enjoyment, and your overall sense of self-expression. Now, opposing up to Jupiter means that there is definitely the optimism here. We just want to ground that with whatever it is that you learned. You want to keep it, you know, in context of what you learned, and also in regards to anything that you're doing that is abundant with being of service. You've had Jupiter transiting your 11th house, which is giving, wanting to contribute, having this bountifulness with that, and opportunities with that, and just keeping a nice harmony here between basically what's important to you and what's important to those in your life and these bigger things that you might be working on, okay? But as long as that balance is there, in either case, it is a positive optimism, okay, and it's leading the way into this month. Now on the 4th, with all this excitement and stuff, you know, in the works or an opportunity for it, we've got Venus then conjuncting up to Uranus, okay? This is wanting freedom, wanting change, wanting revolution, okay, in our lives. As Mars conjuncts the South Node on the 4th as well, wanting to get rid of these old things in our life, okay? Again, for you, ideas of relationships, relationship-oriented things. 7th house is also legal matters, sales, clients, these types of things for those of you maybe involved with those types of aspects of life. But in general, it should be relationships for all of you, you see, and the relationship you have with yourself as well. So drive to release, drive to change. This is where Mars makes his first aspect this month, is on the 4th. This energy, and he's a very powerful planet this month because he's making some very powerful aspects, and this is the first one of releasing. So use that Mars energy, get that ball moving, okay? And again, it's regarding relationships. On the 5th, we have the full moon in Leo, which is your 12th house. So something is being illuminated this month in regards to your spirituality, your subconscious, unconscious, presence, peace, wanting presence, peace, and just the spiritual simplicity in your life. Perhaps that's involved with a lot of this. Perhaps that's what's going to inspire part of it. You see, is that expression and freedom with your 12th house of spirituality. Now, that's coming from a new moon that took place in your 6th house last month. Okay, so whatever it is you started new with your routine, your health, regiments, improvement, crafts, these types of things, it's culminating here on the 5th, and that's giving you a greater understanding of the spiritual side of life. And this is a very spiritual month for all of us, because all this activity with Uranus and South Node and all this is in Pisces, okay? And now with the full moon in your 12th, it's especially for you. But it's an early of the month thing, in terms of the awareness, in terms of you personally. I'll just put it that way, okay? But there's passion here, and it's exciting, and again, it's trining up to Pluto. The full moon is a perfect trine up to Pluto. So there's a flow here. So tap into that spiritual prana, whatever's going on here with the sun illuminating, with the moon illuminating the 12th house. Now on the 8th, we got Mercury going into Aquarius. All right, you guys have recently had, like I said, those changes with health routine, etc. Now, you'll probably be thinking about that because there's probably something that you learned or will learn in regards to that this month. So it's a great month to take care of. You might have to take care of the day-to-day stuff. And that's great. That's going to form a nice grounding element, I feel, for you guys this month. either the day-to-day stuff or self-improving, taking care of your diet, your health, these types of things. Now on the 9th, we've got Mars trining up to Jupiter. Again, optimism, okay? Good fortune, feeling good, feeling motivated. Use that energy. It's a trine. It's an easy aspect. You can use it or not. On the 11th, we've got Mars conjunct up to Uranus. So what this signifies is this is the activating point now, where in the first 10 days of the month, it was, sort of expansive. Now it's action. Now it's grounding it. Mars conjuncts up to Uranus, and Uranus goes exact with Pluto. Uranus Square Pluto starts on the 11th through the 22nd, the middle part of the month here. And it starts with that Mars triggering that Uranus energy. So the trigger, wanting change, this is it on the 11th. From the 11th to the 22nd, this is the last aspect, put the energy into it and step into that power to make change. You're going to have Mars on your side, you got Venus on your side. She's shifting into Aries on the 12th, okay, where you can start to enjoy the motivation and drive. We all will if we get that ball moving. And she's going into your 8th house. So while this is happening, there's this transition. It's a transition from relationships to the deeper elements of life. One by one, the fast-moving planets are going to finish up their transit of your 7th house of relationships and enter your 8th house of transparency in relationships, the deeper elements of life, opening up, being vulnerable, wanting those deeper connections with everything that you're doing, whether it's relationships or your work, your family, whatever it is, okay? So enjoy it. Venus always shows us where we can enjoy, and from the 12th onward, it's getting deeper, especially with relationships, though, for you guys. On the 14th, we've got Saturn going retrograde, okay, in your 3rd house. Towards the end of last year, you guys started to get disciplined with either your communications, your thinking, or teaching and learning in some way, or with the day-to-day stuff. So now with Saturn going retrograde, you're reflecting on those structures that you've been building since then. So you want to do that, and I feel like that's playing a role in all of this. All of these changes that are happening are spawning a sort of reflection of how you're communicating, coming across, probably a lot to do with relationships, you see. But whatever it is, from the 14th onward, for the next 5 months or so, reflecting on the communication stuff and in general the structures that you've been building in your life as well. Now on the 14th, this is a pivoting point here of the month. This is where things start to become more about understanding. So if you don't understand exactly what these changes are, as the month progresses, there's more and more clarity, more and more understanding, and of course that's leading into April. It's all this sort of movement, slow movement, because we are talking about major shifts here of more and more understanding. And I feel like that understanding comes through action with all of this energy in Aries as well, okay? And involving these fast-moving planets. It's putting it through experience, you see. We have to live it, we have to apply it, and then through that application, once we start to put energy towards it physically through our experiences, we'll learn. We'll learn more about ourselves, our unconscious, our psyche, our spirituality, all these things that are involved with Pisces. So the sun going into Pisces, that 7th house of yours on the 14th for the next 30 days is illuminating and shining that torch light on your relationships. On the 18th, Mercury goes conjunct over Neptune in your 6th house. You guys are learning to go with the flow in regards to your health and routine and anything else that's about your self-improvement or craft. So any aspect with Mercury over Neptune isn't a spiritual understanding available in and of itself. So something to be learned perhaps about that. And again, that's where the new moon was. So there's still that sort of energy. Okay. Now on the 20th, we've got the solar eclipse. And now we're still in the Uranus-Pluto square energy. We have the solar eclipse taking place in that 7th house. New beginnings, new adjustments to your life path. Again, revolving, it's about relationships. And so reflecting around this time is what you want to do. Around the 20th, go within, step into that intuition, especially because it's in Pisces. Okay, lots of intuition, lots of downloads happening around this time. And for you, it's regarding those relationships. It's a subtle energy, it's the energy of the new moon, so we just want to reflect. And the insight and intuition that you develop around this time is what's going to lay the foundation for the next 6 months and for the rest of your life in many ways, because the solar eclipses are very powerful. They readjust our overall life path, you see. Now, on the 22nd, like I said, the aspect ends between Uranus and Pluto. Then on the 23rd, we've got Mars going into Aries, which is actually very nice for all of us, because this is a drive, this is an ambition, and I think whatever those new insights that came to us around the solar eclipse, or perhaps around all of these changes that are taking place in our life, is creating motivation of wanting that change. You see, Mars loves to be in Aries. It's action oriented, they're about the same thing, and it's just about moving forward. On the 27th, we've got Mercury going into Pisces, so that's 7th house. So I think naturally through all this understanding, you'll be thinking about more of the relationship stuff, understanding more about it into April. And then on the 30th, the Sun goes over the South Node, again illuminating the past stuff, past life energy, these things that were holding you back, more about the subconscious in regards to all of this relationship stuff. And the insights will continue through April, through the first part of April, as the energy starts to move forward with the solar eclipse. All right, Virgo, have a fantastic month. Please let me know if you have any questions. Please get in touch if you'd like a personal reading. Do check out the weekly horoscopes throughout the month for a more specific look into those, and the dailies as well. All right, thanks again for watching. Take care. I'll talk to you next time.